Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review, so if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. A lot went down in this episode, so let's just get right into this review. So at the beginning of this reunion, they had the girls on their trailers, and some of the girls ended up meeting up to talk about who they have issues with, and obviously Natalie ended up on the same trailer as Sukiana and Sapphire, and Natalie ended up letting Sukiana know that Mariah Lynn said that she doesn't want to fight her, and honestly, I don't feel like Mariah Lynn and Sukiana need to fight anyway. I don't feel like the drama between the two of them was really that relevant. Sukiana said that the only reason why she had an issue with Mariah Lynn and the reason why things went as far as it did between the two of them is because people were coming up to her telling her that Mariah Lynn was saying that she wanted to fight her. Now, I don't know if Mariah Lynn really said that she wanted to fight Sukiana. I kind of doubt that she said she wanted to fight her, but I know that she was talking about Sukiana behind her back because we were able to see some of that this season. But according to Mariah, the other girls in House A were talking bad about Sukiana too, so I feel like Sukiana should have an issue with all the girls in House A because I don't think that Mariah Lynn is lying about the other girls talking about Sukiana as well. Now, Smiley ended up going on to Biggie's bus, and I guess she thinks that Biggie is her friend, or she at least thought on the show that Biggie was her friend until she watched the episodes and saw that Biggie had a lot of negative things to say about her to other people and also in her confessionals. Now, Smiley ended up telling Biggie that when she watched the episodes and she saw that Biggie was talking about her, that her feelings were really hurt about the whole situation, and Biggie didn't really seem to care. She had really bad energy when it came to Smiley, and I don't understand why, because to me, I didn't see Smiley do anything to Biggie. To me, the other girls were the ones that were doing things to Biggie throughout the season, and the girls that Biggie claims were her friends this season sat there and watched people attack her, watched her things be touched, and they didn't do anything about it to help her, so I don't understand why she has this energy towards Smiley. Biggie started yelling at Smiley saying that she doesn't defend herself, and I think that's weird that she's saying that because to me, I feel like she did defend herself this season. I mean, the only time you can really say that she didn't defend herself is when they were trying to rip the chain off her neck, but she did end up fighting that day because she fought Mariah that day, because after Rollie threw the drink on her and she stood up and took her sweater off because she thought she was going to have to fight Rollie, that's when Mariah Lynn came from the side and hit her, and that's when she started fighting Mariah. Now, I guess you can say that she didn't really defend herself when Sapphire ran from behind her and grabbed her by the neck and dropped her on the floor so that they can get the chain off her neck. I guess you can say she didn't defend herself in that situation, but when it came to Sapphire calling her out and saying that she wanted to fight her, obviously we know that Smiley was saying that she did not want to fight, but when Sapphire ran up on her, she did defend herself. She wasn't necessarily swinging on Sapphire because she didn't want to fight her because they didn't have beef, but she did have her by the hair and she wouldn't let go, because that's the reason why Sukiana was trying to jump into the fight. If you go back and watch it where Sukiana is trying to jump in, she's yelling, "Get off my friend's hair, let go of her hair," because she's holding on to Sapphire's hair, not letting go of it. So to me, she did defend herself. I don't know what Biggie's talking about. Biggie should be talking about how she didn't defend herself when Natalie was screaming and yelling in her face, and when she didn't defend herself when, E.T. was in her face and she pushed her down on the couch. Then Biggie starts yelling, saying that Smiley didn't do anything the day that Rollie was handing out eviction notices to the two of them, and I don't think that that's right because I watched that episode and I did a review for that episode, and she ended up fighting Mariah Lynn right before she got handed an eviction notice. If you remember, as soon as the girls from House B showed up to House A, that's when Mariah Lynn starts going off. Her vein is popping out of her forehead, and she's yelling at Smiley, saying that Smiley is going around telling people that she was going to have her sister and her mother followed, and that's when Mariah Lynn runs up and her and Smiley end up fighting. After Smiley gets done fighting Mariah Lynn, she ends up going upstairs to her room because she doesn't really want to be bothered. And that's when Rollie ends up going upstairs to Smiley's room and handing her the eviction notice. And Smiley doesn't even open the eviction notice because Rollie already told her what was in the note and she wasn't going to leave anyway. So she put the letter down, didn't even open it, and continued to lay there in her room on her phone. And Biggie was downstairs arguing with E.T. about that guy that hit E.T. on the top of the head when he showed up to the club, and he was supposedly supposed to be Biggie's friend. And that's when Rollie ended up handing Biggie the eviction notice, and Biggie looked like she was about to cry, and she was sitting there trying to explain herself. She didn't do anything when they gave her the eviction notice either, so why is she going at Smiley for it? And then that same exact night, she had to be forced to go upstairs and stop ET from packing her things up. You could see Sapphire and some of the other girls yelling at Biggie, telling her to go upstairs and go get her stuff. And she was standing there trying to explain herself, talking about it's against the contract, instead of going upstairs and confronting ET about touching her things. Now, eventually, after Sapphire and everybody was yelling at her, telling her to go get her stuff, she ended up going upstairs to go stop her from touching her things. But before that, she was just standing there not trying to do anything about it. And I was really confused at Biggie yelling at Smiley, saying that she told Smiley to slap Rollie while she slaps ET and she didn't do it. And I don't understand why she would be upset about that, because why does Smiley have to have Biggie's back? Like, what did Biggie do to benefit Smiley this entire season? When everybody was talking about Smiley and ganging up on her, Biggie didn't do anything. Biggie just sat there and watched it happen. But now all of a sudden she expects Smiley to have her back for what? Like, what does she need to have her back for? Biggie did not like Smiley this entire season. She said a lot of negative things about Smiley. She didn't believe anything that Smiley said. And then on top of that, she was buddy-buddy with some of the other girls on the show this season. So why not require the girls that you claim are your friends to have your back? Why didn't the girls who supposedly like Biggie and are her friends not have her back this season when Rollie was going at her and when ET was going at her? They all sat there and watched it happen and they didn't say anything, but for some reason the only person she has an issue with for not doing anything is Smiley. And I'm sorry, but it was really weak of Biggie to smack Smiley in the face like that. First of all, she smacked Smiley in the face and then tried to walk away after she did it because she didn't want to have to fight. And then she had to fight because Smiley ended up trying to attack her and trying to fight her on the trailer after she smacked her in the face. But let's be clear, if that were any of the other girls in the house that she knows would have fought back, she would have never smacked them in the face like that, and she would have never came at them the way that she came at Smiley. She came at Smiley like that and smacked her in the face because she feels like Smiley is a punk who don't defend herself. And for me, Biggie does not get any cool points for that, because she should have had that energy for ET when ET was in her face and pushed her down on that damn couch. That's who she should have had that energy for. And I'm sorry, I'm probably going to end up getting dragged in the comment section for this, but look, I have to be honest and I have to be unbiased in my reviews. And yes, Smiley did a lot of problematic things. The whole situation with even having the beef with Mariah Lynn stemmed from her snatching the microphone out of Mariah Lynn's sister's hand. Had she would have never done that, she wouldn't have had none of that drama in the first place. So for me, I do think that Smiley has some problematic ways, but when it comes to this situation, Biggie was the one that was wrong in my opinion. And after Biggie is taken off the trailer, that's when Smiley starts yelling and she starts punching things and her hand ends up bleeding really, really bad. Like, she busted open really, really bad and there was like blood everywhere. So look, she really got messed up in that situation because she was punching things and it ended up splitting her hand open. So she ended up having to get like a cast and like a sling on her hand. So I don't know how she's supposed to defend herself when she goes on stage because she messed her hand up. Then Tesehki ends up going on to Biggie's trailer and the two of them start talking, and Biggie starts saying how she feels like Chrisean is wrong and how Chrisean is ungrateful because of the way that she was talking about Zeus on social media, and for Chrisean requesting a lot of money in order to be able to come onto the reunion. She felt like Chrisean was wrong for that, and I'm not necessarily saying that what Biggie was saying was wrong, because some of the points that she was making were definitely valid. And look, I'm not a fan of Chrisean at all, but why are you saying these things about Chrisean to her sister? I mean, yeah, Tesehki and Chrisean are not on good terms right now, but they are sisters, and who knows, they might start talking again anytime, so you can't really be talking about her sister to her. And look, Chrisean went after Lo last season for no reason at all. Like, Lo wasn't even being disrespectful to her, and she went after her. So I hope that Biggie is ready to stand on the things that she's saying about Chrisean right now, because who knows, Chrisean might say that she's not going to be on another season of Baddies and then end up being on there. So look, I hope Biggie is ready to stand on the things that she's saying. Everybody ends up coming on stage except for Rollie, ET, Smiley, and DJ Sky, but they do end up coming out at the very last minute. But look, to me, there wasn't a lot of relevant things being said before ET and Rollie ended up coming on stage, but they started off the reunion talking about the beef between Ahna and Scotty, because obviously that was the first fight of the season. Apparently, the two of them were beefing online before the show actually started filming, and that's the reason why they got into the first fight of the season. I do think that it was good that Scotty defended herself, but to me, Ahna won that fight. But now apparently they have some type of beef stemming from the both of them sleeping with the owner of Zeus. Now, I don't know if they both really slept with him. I think Scotty kind of revealed that she was, because there was a phone call that was leaked of Scotty talking on the phone, and she was basically saying that she didn't catch anything from the owner of Zeus. So look, I don't know if she's sleeping with him. That's her business, not mine. I don't know if Ahna slept with him either. She's denying that she was, but who really knows? I just don't understand why they're going back and forth about this while this man's wife is hosting the reunion. Now look, his wife might know what he does. I don't think that she's oblivious to what he does, and maybe they have some type of agreement, okay? So I don't know. It's none of my business. Now, Tesehki did say that she thinks that it's good that Chrisean didn't end up showing up to the reunion because she thinks things would have turned ugly, but that she would have been willing to listen to Chrisean had Chrisean shown up if Chrisean was willing to give her an apology for having her friends jump her. Now, like I said before, I think that Chrisean was wrong for having her friends jump her sister. And when the host ended up asking Tesehki if she did agree to actually fight any girls that Chrisean said that she wanted Tesehki to fight, Tesehki said that that was not true, and she has the text messages to prove it. She said that she agreed to make sure that none of the girls put their hands on Chrisean, and she said that she was able to do that because none of the girls did anything to her. But look, I don't think any of the girls would have touched Chrisean in the first place because she was pregnant, and some of them probably don't want to fight her anyway, so I think she would have been fine either way. But I personally don't think that Chrisean should have been on the show because she was pregnant. Now, they end up turning their attention to Natalie and Camila because obviously they had beef since BGC 13, and because a lot of the fans from Bad Girls Club would not let go of the beef between Natalie and Camila, they were basically begging Camila to come on the show, and now Camila came on the show. The two of them fought at the very beginning of the season, and then they hugged it out, and they were cool for the rest of the season, and they ended up hugging again at the reunion. And look, I'm okay with the two of them making up and not having beef anymore. The beef is really old from a TV show from years ago. I still like the Bad Girls Club, but I'm okay with the girls moving on with each other. And look, if Natalie can help some of the bad girls from Bad Girls Club make some money now, I'm okay with that, and I think that the fans should be okay with it too. Now, because all the girls either have an issue with Rollie or ET, as soon as the host said that they were coming on stage, all the girls got ready because obviously they want to fight. And as soon as ET comes on stage, she runs out, she kicks her shoes off, and she attacks Natalie. Out of all people, she attacks Natalie, and I was so confused by that. And she runs over there and knocks Natalie backwards in the chair. Like, Natalie is sitting in the chair, and Natalie and the chair fall backwards. And Scotty is confused because she talked to ET backstage, and ET did not mention anything about going after Natalie. And while security is trying to break up the fight between Natalie and ET, now Rollie and Biggie end up getting into it. And look, I'm sorry to say this, but Biggie cannot fight. I'm glad that she was defending herself at the reunion, but she cannot fight at all. I'm sorry. Rollie is not the best fighter either, and honestly, I'm not a fan of Rollie at all, but to me, she took over that fight with Biggie, and they fought like 3 rounds, and every round Biggie lost, but I think it's good that she's at least trying to defend herself. Now, while Rollie and Biggie are fighting, Ahna tries to get over there to try to fight Rollie too, but security would not let her go over there. So while Rollie was trying to yell that they were trying to jump her, which they probably were, they never actually got to jump Rollie because security would not let Ahna go over there. And honestly, I did like Ahna this season, but trying to jump people to me is really weak. I don't think you need to try to jump anybody, just fight them one-on-one. And at some point during this reunion, Ahna and Rollie try to fight, but security would not let them go at it, so they didn't actually get to fight. And based on Tesehki yelling to Biggie, "What did I tell you? What did I tell you?" when she was trying to fight Rollie, I'm guessing that, Tesehki maybe tried to teach her how to fight, or she tried to give Biggie some pointers on what to do when you're fighting, and Biggie wasn't doing it, so she was getting kind of frustrated. Now, at the very end of this reunion, Tesehki and ET end up fighting, and look, I will give some type of props to ET, even though I don't like her, because she did step to Tesehki, and I don't think any of the other girls on this season would have done that because they seem like they're scared of her, but she was not winning that fight. I'm sorry, there was no chance of her winning it. She was swinging, I will give her props, she was swinging, but none of her hits were connecting, and Tesehki did end up winning that fight. She took over the fight, and she took her down, so look, Tesehki won in my opinion, but I will give props to ET for stepping up and at least trying to fight Tesehki.